kitchen get some zip code? It seems that evil does run in the family. Your lineage is that of a craftsman, a maker of toys. You should have stayed in the family business.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Gotham Gavel movie review. This is Gotham Cenobites, and I'm Terry.
I'm Lindsay.
And today we are reviewing Hellraiser Debtors, or number 7, if you're following in line. And this was one of my least favorite, but I have to say, it went down a lot easier this time, especially after seeing 6, which was really bad. But, so what were your, initial impressions? Would you say it was definitely better than the last 2?
I definitely think it was better than the last 2. I mean, it was almost the same feel as far as, almost like a made-for-TV movie. Yeah. Very, you can tell this was, probably another film that was
not meant to be a
Hellraiser, so it's kind of, sprinkled in.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is I remember hating this one, so it scares me, am I gonna like the next one as much as I thought I did? But, so main characters, we start with Amy, then of course her boss Charles, and then we eventually get to Marla, and we'll explain who all these people are, and then Joey and Winter, and of course Pinhead, who, this is 7th movie in, but I don't think you ever really see him quite as pissed the fuck off as he was at the end of this movie.
Yeah, he generally gives, a pretty good, speech about telling somebody how they fucked up in some way, but here he's definitely extremely irritated.
Really fucking angry. So, alright, so, oh man, a lot to go over, and of course we've had 2 days to think about this one, but so yeah, we start with Amy, and it's kind of crack-ridden, very shady house.
Maybe some crazy party went down. Everybody's
there's a few people shooting up, tweaking up, but so she kind of comes to, takes a bunch of pictures, just walks out. And of course, you find out in the later scenes, a couple minutes after that
she's a journalist.
She's a journalist, and she was in that place just to get a story.
Yeah, she does some pretty precarious articles, journalistic articles about it's shown in the paper she holds up how to be a crack whore.
Which, I don't know about you, but I've always wanted to know.
Yes, and then Charles eventually mentions, her proclivities in skankdom or something like that. So she's very...
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But before we get to Charles, I completely forgot, and I was telling her, I guess I didn't really know who Gary was back then when I first watched this, but now that I know who Gary is. Little scene with Gary, he's in the Reporters.
Oh, yeah.
He, flirts with her, and she, challenges him, and he totally wusses out.
Say his full name?
Gary J. Tunnicliffe.
And what does he do in the films?
He is Pinhead's makeup artist.
Makeup artist.
He does.
Yeah, but in this one, he had several parts in this movie. Not parts, but key role.
Special effects.
He was some kind of. Was he a director?
Supervisor? Probably by now.
Something like that. Pretty.
The head guy.
Very important parts in the making of this film.
But yeah, it was cool to see him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we go into Charles, which is her boss, who you can tell, there's pictures of them together on the wall that they've had a history, and of course, by their conversation, you can tell they both worked together in New York. And then he kind of hits her with a story, how he mysteriously came into possession of this videotape, and they watch it. And long and the short with the debtors is this guy that we find out later, name is Winter. They
cult.
kind of cult-like, and they I don't know, like you kill yourself because you have to do it willingly, and then he has some kind of
Brings them back to life.
eagle powers who brings them back to life.
I mean, they're walking around with their wounds.
I know, they're just like, ooh.
So this is also part zombie movie.
But apparently, as long as you continue to believe in him, you don't really go zombie. But
What?
Yeah, because
I didn't catch that.
We'll get to it. So, of course, her being a journalist, she's definitely intrigued and wants to know more. So he already has an envelope with her with cash, hotel, plane, train tickets, all that shit. It's like he knew she was gonna take it.
Yeah.
And there's also a return address on the videotape. So she heads off to, was it Romania?
Romania.
And then we see her at the return address, who we come to find out is Marla's apartment. So she convinces the landlord to let her in, and then she goes in there. Of course, we find dead Marla.
Yeah, she finds like photographs.
Yeah, a big file full of shit on the debtors.
Yeah, this is where Marla has the box in her hand.
Yeah. You can tell she's trying to kill herself, but because she's a debtor, you can't really die again. I guess. But she has the box in her hand, and she doesn't really notice it at first because there's an envelope that says "Help us."
Yes.
So she's reaching for the envelope, around the dead body, and it falls.
So at this point, you're thinking that she's going to help them. Like Marla is like seeking help.
Right, but we don't find that until she drops the envelope, gets the box, and that's when Marla kind of jumps at her because you find out she's not really dead.
But you don't. Okay, so before you know that, so you're kind of thinking that maybe was that real?
Yeah. So goes back to her hotel, watches a videotape that was in the envelope, and the videotape is what Marla, alive and well, saying, help us, and like you were chosen or something. And then she there's a key in the envelope too, with a red dot, and she pretty much tells her to go to a train station, what car to get onto, and to ask for Joey.
Mm-hmm.
So, but before all that, she does actually open the box, and that's when Pinhead comes out.
Even though doesn't it say in the video, do not open the box?
Yeah. So, of course I'm going to.
Yeah.
So she has of course, Pinhead comes and says some shit, but then like so many times in this movie, she wakes up, and this when she goes to the train station, finds Joey.
And this is like some underground, like alternative sex cult in a train.
Yeah.
It's very culty.
And you said it was disturbing because there was like a kid on the train?
There was a kid on the train.
Yeah,
I mean, there's like naked. There's just some really like nasty bad shit going down on this train.
She finds Joey. Joey kind of gives her the runaround, but then ultimately mentions Winter by name.
He was mildly entertaining, by the way.
Yeah, Joey was cool.
Yeah.
Tells her they all live together in a house.
Like, don't go there.
Yeah. Gives her the address. So of course she goes there. What's she saying? Got that fucked up destructive thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
So goes to the house. It's conveniently locked up, but again we follow. The lock has a red dot on it, and the key we found in the envelope has a red dot. So she unlocks it, goes in there. And then she's kind of led to this hallway that keeps getting narrower and narrower. And then someone's coming after her with a knife.
Yeah, it was a claustrophobia nightmare.
And then she wakes up and she's standing in a room and this guy says, "Come with me." So he leads her to the room where
the debtors.
Where they're performing
the ritual.
Performing another ritual on another one of the people. And that's so she has a conversation with him. And that's when Winter says he chose her and that the box is a family heirloom. So during their conversation, again, just flash, and then she wakes up and she's in the bed. And of course they're trying to coerce her into the ritual. And they're just about to do it when, bam, she wakes up back in the hotel. There's with this one and 6 especially, there's a lot of waking up from dreams that's very convenient. when you can't write a solution, so you just wake him up.
Yeah.
It doesn't last long, though, of course, because in the bed, she kind of moves, and come to find out she's bleeding everywhere. And when she gets up to investigate, the knife Winter had, the knife that was chasing after her in the corridor, is now in her, and she pokes the end of it.
Yeah, that was a pretty gory scene.
Yeah, she's in the bathroom, like, screaming, like, what? I mean, and she's, like, just standing there and blood's going everywhere.
Yeah,
and
she's like MacGyvered the fuck out of that knife, trying to pull it out of her bag.
Yeah, she comes to a cabinet and shuts it in the cabinet and pulls it out.
Ugh.
And then she kind of makeshifts a Band-Aid on her. And that's
Poorly.
when we see Pinhead. I don't know if Pinhead comes before the Band-Aid or after, but Pinhead comes to her in her apartment and pretty much lays it out, that Winter has discovered a door into his domain and he must be stopped and all that shit.
And we also find out, like, she doesn't feel anything.
Yeah, well,
And
she
that's-
goes out with the bloody Band-Aid, and that's when she finds zombie Marla, because Marla wasn't dead. And that's when Marla tells her, how come you can't feel anything right now? As much blood as you're losing. And then Marla also tells her, that's when I think it's found out that because she chose to start questioning, that's why she started decaying.
Oh, I missed that.
But yeah, there's at one point where Marla tells her, the more you question, the deader you become. The deaders.
Deader. Yeah, so that's where deader.
Yeah, deaders. So after she sees Marla, she goes back to the train, and it's a little different this time. It's not, the same, but as she gets to Joey, has another conversation with Joey, and then all of a sudden it goes dark and like he's all dead. And when she turns around, the whole fucking train now is everybody she walked past, they're all
Bodies are piled
dead.
up, everybody's dead.
And that's when we see the first other Cenobite on the train.
Who's rather petite.
Yeah, which I'm not sure what her name is, but of course we'll show the pictures. And then from there, we kind of wake up again, and that's when she's strapped to a bed in a mental hospital. Now, the one thing I've forgotten to say is, in all these flashbacks, it gets more and more and more to the end, where you see flashbacks of her as a child.
Oh, yeah.
And clearly,
Very traumatic.
Clearly, her dad beat the hell out of her.
Essayed.
So he beat the hell out of her and did other things that we can't say on YouTube.
Seriously essayed.
Yeah.
Horrifically.
So we wake up in the mental hospital. She's strapped to the chair. And we see Charles there. And I don't remember what their conversation was, but it's pretty much, everything's going to be okay. The guy comes in. And you're doing much better. So they unstrap her. And I don't even know where they go. But then when she walks out the door, she's clearly like in a mental hospital. Like there's all kinds of people, like the scene in Good Burger.
But somehow Marla miraculously had like a little makeover.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you want to say, but I mean, she sits down with a kid who kind of resembles her kid in the flashbacks of her.
Oh, I didn't really notice
Draws
that.
her, and when she draws her, like half her face is all zombified, and that's when she freaks out and turns, and then there's Marla just sitting there.
Oh.
But Marla's no longer a zombie. And then Marla kind of just gets up and walks away, and then of course she's walking down another hallway in this mental hospital, and she's kind of coming to terms with like her past. And you see her adult self and her kid self kind of kill the father. So when she falls down, that's when bam, we wake up again, and we're back in the bed at the debtors. And he gives her the knife, and she kind of, okay, fine, I'll do it. And just when she's about to stab herself, she hits the table instead. doesn't even solve the box, just picks the box up
And like throws
it, and then it magically solves itself, and then finally, we're at the end. Now, I mean, through all these other really bad movies, the ends are always great. And so at the end, Pinhead comes out, a much better shot of Chatterer 3.
He looks great.
And it's Mike again. And of course we see the bound male very briefly. We see one of the Stitch twins. And they cut out the other Cenobite, which was Spike. But he's still credited in the credits. But Pinhead gives a pretty awesome speech. And I showed it in the intro for this about how evil does run in your family and that you're a descendant of a maker of toys and you should have stayed in the family business.
That was great. That was such a good line.
And that's when he's like, you can't hurt me. And he's like, you're not the first to say that. And that's when, you know, the whole, when all these spikes are coming out the brick wall, they string up Winter and rip his ass apart. And then he looks over at the other debtors, and it's like, clearly this word disappoints you. This world disappoints you or bores you. So he fucking kills all of them. And that's when he turns to Amy, you know, where she chooses to kill herself rather than let him take her.
Because he mentions her father is waiting.
Oh yeah, your father is waiting. So I think she would have been okay going with them, going to hell with them, but then when he mentions her father's waiting for you, yeah.
She's like, screw that.
To me, and this is where you kind of get, to me, what's just confusing about these movies is some of them are referred to as hell. Like, you think it's the hell in our Christian religion. But then some other ones, it's referred to as a different dimension. So
that's true.
So when she kills herself, wouldn't you still think you're going to hell?
I never thought that's true.
So I don't understand how her killing herself is any different than going with Pinhead.
Right.
But that's how the movie ends. Well, no. After that, the box kind of blows up and blows the whole building up. And then we're back with Charles, watching it on TV, the building that has been blown up, and then the only thing to survive the building is the box, unharmed. And then he brings in another female reporter, and you can clearly tell he's about to show her the same video and send her on the same mission.
Yeah, but that's a little confusing to me. How do you know? Did he say that?
He mentions the same. Let me show you a videotape I just got in.
Yeah, but how's she gonna go? What is she gonna investigate? There's nothing to investigate.
I don't know.
See, that his... Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, I mean.
Well, because, again,
like, enough.
That is really confusing to me.
What's Charles? You kind of get a feeling
his involvement.
That Charles
he's just
involved,
he's after the box,
and that he wasn't just sent this videotape on accident, and that he's recruiting Amy and recruiting all these people to go investigate. But you're right.
It's never
at the
made
end
clear. Yeah. His involvement.
And at the end, all the debtors are gone. Winter's gone.
The journalist on the TV is conveniently holding up as he's talking to this reporter in the last scene. So that's confusing, the ending scene.
Yeah, it is confusing because Charles, you get a sense he's involved somehow, but what's his end game?
Right.
And there's a few points in this movie that aren't really made clear until we didn't even know that Winter's end game was to control the Cenobites until we go fucking read the synopsis.
Because it's never mentioned.
All he says is you found a window into my domain.
Pinhead says that.
Yeah, it's never made clear what the fuck Winter is trying to do.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
But, alrighty, so we always do a section just about Cenobites in this movie, and I mean, I do have to say Pinhead's makeup was a lot better than I remember. It was really good.
It was very well shot. He looked great.
Like I was saying before, I just loved how righteously pissed the fuck off he was.
Yeah, a lot of really great lines were delivered.
And we see Chatterer 3, and he's called Chatterer 3 is because Chatterer 2 was at the end of 2 with the eyes and the nose and the ears. So this new Chatterer, I don't believe is the same little boy or a person who was turned into a Cenobite. I think it's a new Cenobite, and it's Chatterer 3. And you see more of him and the bound male in the next movie. And we saw the bound female earlier. The bound male and the bound female are child
They harm children.
dealers. And, yeah. And then we have the unknown female, which we've looked on Wiki, you said. But I don't know how
They got that information.
So I'm not even going to say it. She looks pretty cool. She has the same symbols as the Wire Twins and Torso.
Well, I like that she wasn't overly sexualized. Not that I don't mind. I just like, it's nice to see something different.
And then, very briefly at the end, you see another one that resembles Stitch from the last one. But I did do investigation into that, and there is Stitch twins. So I don't know if the one from the last movie is her sister, or if there's two other ones that look like this one. And then the last Cenobite wasn't included in the movie, but he was in the credits still somehow. And I found a picture of him. I'm going to put it up right now. And that's just
He's the most
referred to
badass looking one.
as Spike. Well, next to Pinhead and Chatterer, I would agree. He would have been the most badass. Yeah. I mean, you got one in the third movie with CDs in his head. I don't think this one was too far-fetched.
Oh.
So, I mean, I don't know why they deleted it. I can remember Gary talking about it. So, I mean, I don't know why they cut it. Other than the fact that it was just going to be 3 seconds.
Right. Because in all these... Everybody, in all these films, they're never really shown very much.
No.
No.
Which is, I mean, I'll wait till we get there. The next one, Chatterer 3 and the bound male have an awesome scene at the end where they're actually doing more than just standing there looking cool.
Yes, that's what you're right. That's all they do. They just stand there, look cool.
We're just here to get his back.
Yeah.
But he doesn't ever need it. So, okay. Do you want to do final ratings, or did you want to say anything else?
I mean, I feel like these have really been some half-ass reviews. This is the first time I've actually watched back other content creators' reviews, and we just have not had a good formula. We're not. I don't know. It just depends on what you're coming to see. Are you coming for an actual, like, good review of this film? Or are you coming just to hear someone else's opinion? It's just our take on it, I guess, and it's a quick synopsis.
Of our lovely personalities. Which, I don't know. But yeah. I mean, I've watched a few on some of the earlier movies, and then when you kind of, like, I don't know, brought this whole thing up then, I was like, maybe I shouldn't, because I'm not trying to be anybody else. I will say the best reviews I've seen of these movies, and he does like chunks, like 4 movies at a time, is 3C Films. His reviews were really good and spot on. Yeah.
Very well researched. Yeah. Very informative. If you're looking for good reviews.
I mean, I wouldn't say we do a horrible job.
It's just we're more like opinion pieces, I feel like.
We live our
just
lives.
Our takes.
We live our lives during the week. We watch the movie one night, and then we try to review it the second night. We should probably do more research, but
more research.
I just think
for me personally, it's just like my ADHD ass has a really hard time just doing reviews in general. That's why I literally have to watch things over and over and over, and I guarantee every time I watch something, I will see something new that I've never saw before. You saw in this review, like, I just forget things, or I didn't notice it, because I just get distracted extremely easily. I have a very hard time watching films.
Which, I mean, right now the plan is just to do the Hellraiser and maybe Candyman. If we decide to go to do more, then of course I think, once the kids are older and we can actually devote some time to it, I think we'll get, really good at it. But
well, we stated in the last one, like, this is just for fun.
It's for fun. All right. Well, not going to waste any more time.
Yeah.
What is your final rating?
You know, this one was kind of all over the place, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. I'll give it a 3. I enjoyed some of the... I thought the makeup was very well done. Where I know that's kind of going into so a 3 for me.
3, I'll agree.
Yeah. Okay.
So this one's a 3, and it's only a few times we've actually agreed with each other.
Yeah.
So
the last 2 really irked the shit out of me. I don't know why. And I saw better. I mean, a lot of people really like those movies, and the main characters in all 3 of these movies really kind of. I don't know. Mr. Mayhem kind of disappointed me in the last one, but for the most part, the main characters really carried the film pretty well.
The actor who I know we stated it in the 5th movie, but whoever played that detective in the 5th movie was really good. Amy was really good in this movie.
She was great, yeah.
Mr. Mayhem kind of dropped the ball.
He was a little disappointing.
And again, I mean, it's another generic Hellraiser movie. I mean,
right.
I'm glad we're doing this because I don't hate it as much as I thought I did.
Yeah.
So, did you want to do any likes?
Yeah, I do. I mean, like I said, like I was going to say I really, Pinhead really delivered some amazing lines. The makeup was fantastic on him and the Cenobites. The shots too. I really enjoyed some of the shots, the close-ups. On Pinhead, or in general too. When Winter, when he got flung or whatever, the makeup was done really well. It was very because sometimes it just looks so cheesy when the hooks and the cheeks. It looks a little strange, but they did. It looks great. They did a really good job. This movie was pretty gory, except for the gun scenes. You knew something precarious was going to go down.
That's what I wanted
But there
to say.
was some of the quick little edits in the shots for a Hellraiser film. I was kind of surprised. I figured it would have been explosive, and plus the head, the blood. You know what I mean?
We're on this subject, the gun. Now, my dad had one of these guns growing up. I know what it fucking does. And when she shoots herself in the head, I want to say for sure it's a 357 Magnum.
She would not have a face.
That's going to take half her fucking head with it.
That
it's
woman
not just
would
going
not...
to be a little hole, no.
Yeah.
The gun would have flown across the fucking room, and the other side of her whole fucking head would have gone the other direction.
Her face would have been gone. Half of it, at least.
But yeah, that's just... Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A lot of... I think that's it as far as likes.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree. Pinhead was much better looking in this one than I thought. And then likes. I mean, the only thing I can say I liked was the main character. I had a crush on growing up from Sliders. I can remember having high hopes for this movie because she was in it, and then just being let down.
They didn't have that. I did notice they didn't really have, in the beginning of the last 2 films, they have that really nice, cool, Hellraiser music. This one in the beginning was very blah.
Lifetime.
Yeah, it was very blah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, dislikes, I'm pretty sure we've already covered.
Pretty much.
The gun and the what the fuck story and half-ass explanation. Just once again,
left with a lot of questions.
This was a movie that was not meant to be a Hellraiser movie. It just there's some Hellraiser.
And
now
that
it's
was just to
Hellraiser.
keep the license. Is that what we learned a couple movies back?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean it's very evident that it's a Hellraiser donut sprinkle again.
I do think they tried really hard to make this a good film, though.
This one of the last 3 is probably the closest to a Hellraiser movie.
I guess. I mean, I feel like they tried in all 3 of them. I really shit on the last 2. I just did not enjoy them like you did.
Well, I enjoyed 5. I thought I enjoyed 6, but nah, it was really bad. Even though Kirsty was back in it. I mean, I do not think it just gets to get a pass and be better because it was Kirsty.
She was just kind of out of character in that movie. But anyways, I don't want to go back to that. We're focused on Deader. Really weird name too, but okay.
Yeah, that's the Deader is the name of their cult. The Deaders. Which, yeah. So stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, one thing I did really like is the whole nod back to the puzzle box creator, but
Melchon.
yeah, but yeah, I think that'll do me.
Oh yeah, one more thing too. Sorry, this is probably getting a little long. Like
it.
when when she died and then that whole explosion thing, Pinhead's like, no. I mean, that was such a like he's not gonna die. Why is he reacting that way?
Maybe because, again, she rejected him and killed herself. So
And then the whole like, no. I mean, Pinhead scene and like they're all. It just I didn't understand it. Like, why is he? Why?
I don't know. And considering
That
that he just
scene.
took like 12 people to hell
Well, yeah.
with him.
I mean, why?
This one, maybe it's because she's special.
I don't get it.
But yeah, a lot of. I think there's a lot more unanswered questions in this one than the last two.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, 5 wrapped up. This is the hell he's in. 6. Yeah, I mean, this definitely. Yeah.
This
a
is
lot of questions.
This is one of those movies I actually would not mind watching again because I feel like I have so many unanswered questions. Maybe I missed something and I need to watch it again. Not anytime soon. But
Okay. All right. Well, I will end it
Yeah.
there. I just want to. This is a shirt I got from Gutter Garbs. You see, Uncle Frank. Oh, it's so awesome. But yeah, we thank you all for watching. Thank you for watching our mediocre reviews. We appreciate you guys.
half-ass.
We can't do that. Somebody on this YouTube's already named Half-Assed.
Really? Who?
Half-Assed.
Who the fuck's that?
The old guy who does statue reviews. It's been a while. I hope you're doing well, Craig, if you're watching this.
Oh my gosh!
Who's conveniently-
I loved his reviews.
His last name is Walker, too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's
Okay.
great.
That will wrap it up. You guys have a good weekend, and we will see you on the next one. Next one has Henry Cavill.
Oh.
At least there's that.
Yeah.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye.
Quite a journey.